All right, guys. So one of the activity that we do for our very first lab in the spring is I teach you how to do your own graphs with Excel. All right. Now that's since we're not getting together to do labs, that's not going to happen. I mean, normally you'd have a partner. I got a little worksheet and you guys would work through it and you get it all figured out and it's good. So this year, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a little video, a little how-to video for you here. And then you can kind of follow along. Now, there is a file that's got the data points in it here. Okay, so don't worry about trying to write those down. You can get to that. And there's some instructions here. All right. And then this is the graph that we're going to make. And then there's another set of another graph I want you to make, and it involves having two sets of data, and I'm going to show you how to put two sets of data onto a single graph. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Anyway, a copy of this is in your eLearn, so you're going to want to have that open, you're going to want to have Excel open, and you're going to watch this video all at the same time. Okay, anyway, let's see what you can do with that. All right, now one little thing I need to say, these instructions are a few years old. Okay, so some of the ways that things are laid out are a little different now, and so this video is going to kind of serve as an updated version. But if you have an older version of Excel, you might have something that looks more like what you're going to see in here. Okay. Now, if you're not using Excel on a Windows device, things might be a little bit different for you. And good luck. YouTube is your friend. I don't know how to use Macs. And so if there's some things that are a little bit different, you're going to need to kind of find some resources for that using the Mac. Okay. Anyway, enough introductions. So, all right, I've gone ahead and put in, the first set of data here, okay, and it's almost complete. It's almost complete. I don't have my value in here, okay, so I got to look at the worksheet, see what that's supposed to be. Resistance in ohms, okay. All right, now I need you to see the pattern here, okay. When you turn something into me, if you're ever in a situation where you're turning something in for publication, for a presentation, people and me only want to see your graph. We don't care about the raw data. All right. You may do an experiment one of these days where you've got hundreds of data points. Nobody wants to look at that. However, you need to be able to see it, and it needs to be clear to you what's going on. All right. So you have to be kind to yourself. All right, so let's look at a few things here that you need to do. All right, first of all, give your file a name. Look at this right here, okay? So I might do a whole bunch of work and then something goes boink and it's all gone. Okay, you don't want that to be you. All right, so I'm going to give it a name. Save, okay, and I'm going to put it, I'm just going to put it on my desktop. Where's my desktop? There it is. Okay, and I'm going to call this learning graphs, just like that. And that's what I'd like for you to call yours, because all right, just like that as well. All right, because I want you to turn in a copy of your work. Okay, there we go. And now, so I've got length. All right, and the other thing was resistance. All right, now I put my M in there for my units. Okay, boom, boom. That helps out a lot. So I'm going to come in here, resistance, and we're going to learn that resistance has units of ohms. So we'll put that in there. Now, this looks terrible. Okay, it's like, what is going on with this? Okay, so we want to do some things to clean it up. All right, and again, this is for our own use, but remember, you need to be real clear what it is you're looking at it and what it means. All right. So what I'm going to do is going to make this column a little bit wider. Maybe scotch more. And this one also a little bit wider so I can get the whole thing in there. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a slightly different trick in the next one that we do, but this is good for now. Okay. Now my lengths. Okay. Now when I did my measurement, I actually have one more digit on there. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because I want it to be like 10.0, 12.0, 15.0, etc., is that I'm going to come up here and see this. Okay. Increases the decimal, decreases the decimal. So I'm going to increase that one. Boom. Okay, now I don't know why it went so high. We don't want it that much, so I'm going to hit the one that says decrease. We're going to back it down just a little bit like that. Okay, now I've got 3 sig figs on both sides. Now, unfortunately, Excel doesn't do sig figs. It just does digits. Okay, but, you know, you can manually adjust that. The other thing that I would do here is I would center this so it looks a little bit nicer. Okay. I would come up here and pick a line style. That looks pretty good. And then I draw a little line under this and a little line right down here just like that. Okay. Now again, that's just so it's easier to look at. Okay. So when I'm looking at it later on, I don't have any problems. Always number your data points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many you got, you number them, because that gives you a way to refer to them. Okay. So if I was talking to a colleague or something about the data, I could say, yeah, the data point number 6 is weird. Okay. And my colleague can go, oh, there it is. All right. And it's easy for me to refer to it. It's easy for my colleague to know what the heck is going on. You don't want to have to say, the data pair 26.077.2 is unusual. Nah, who needs that hassle? Okay. So give them a good number there. That's going to help everybody out. Now I'm ready to put my graph in here. So I'm going to come up and there are different ways to do this. I'm going to show you what I think is the most straightforward. Okay. So we're going to go insert. Okay. And we've got all this stuff here, and the Excel people call them charts. All right. We want this one right here. Okay. It says scatter. All right. We want to introduce a scatter graph. Now the difference between this and all of these others is that with scatter, the way the data appears, the sequence in which the data appears, depends on whatever the independent value is. Okay. So it puts them in order according to independent data points. In other words, your X data points. So it's going to number it automatically. So we don't have to put these in increasing order. We could put them in any order we want. All right. So I won't show that to you now, but you get it. These others, the way it shows you the data is in descending order of the column. Okay. Not in X order. All right. So we want this guy here. I'm going to hit the down arrow. Now I've got a lot of options. We are going to always use this guy right here. I shouldn't say 99% of the time we're going to use this guy right here. Okay. Because we do not want the program to put a line on there for us, because we don't necessarily know what it's going to do. Number one. Number two, we don't necessarily know that 2 consecutive data points are connected in a way that the line suggests. They may not be related that way. Okay, so that's a mistake. This guy and this guy, they're just crazy. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So this is what we want right here. Oh, look at that. See with the lines and stuff. Anyway. Okay, so this is what we want right here. Okay. So boom. Now it defaulted and gave us this really weird thing here. All right. And we don't want that at all. And in fact, that worries me just a little bit. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to try it one more time. Let's come over here just in case I did something weird. Boom. Yeah, that's what I wanted, a blank thing. Okay. So I guess by putting my cursor off of here, I got a blank, which is what I wanted. Okay. Now I've got to throw some data on there. So I'm going to come up here, select data. Okay, this is data range. We could do it that way, but we're not gonna. All right, so we're going to add a series. Okay, and we're going to call this resistance. Okay, then we get our X values. So we hit the little up arrow over here. In this particular experiment, my length was the thing I was controlling. Okay, now, I mean, you would know that in an actual experiment. Here, there's no way you would know that. Okay, it could be either column. There's, not necessarily one or the other. Then I have to go back and get my Y values. Okay, now, be a little bit careful here. If I click in, I'm pointing, it doesn't work for you. If I click inside here and I get something like this, I'm going to delete all that first. Otherwise, when I select my data, there's going to be an error, and it's a real hassle. Okay, then I can just come over here, boop, grab those guys just like that. And there we go, okay? And it went ahead and suggested a title there based on the series name, okay? Boom, just like so. Okie dokie. So, let's see, I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit. Okay, now what we want to do is a couple of things. We want to get some labels on the X and Y axis. Okay, so I'm going to hit plus here. Scoot that a scotch more. I'm going to hit plus here, and I'm going to add axis titles. Okay, so it gives me a spot here. All right, so this one right here, this is our resistance. Okay, so highlight that. Resistance. Now we want to put our units on there because we want anybody that looks at this graph to know immediately what we're talking about. All right, and then we're going to come down here. We're going to do this one. This is length, and our units were meters, just like that. Okay, all right. Communicating all about clarity. Now here, what we'll do is we'll say resistance as a function of length. I don't know, something like that. And again, in an actual experiment, you would know what it's showing. Here in this exercise, it's you have to be told. Okay, so far so good. Boom, boom, boom. Those are the minimum features you need on a graph. Label here, label here, label here. Okay. Now we're going to add some more elements. All right, so first I want to click on this, and then I want to, do I want to do it this way? I want to add error bars here. Okay, add some error bars. Boop, just like that. Now, it just put these on here. I mean, we have no idea where the size of these came from. Okay. Now, suppose we didn't want to have error bars that way. Okay. Then we could just hit delete and those parts go away. Okay. Or if we just wanted vertical ones for some reason, delete, it's gone away. Okay. Or we might want both. Okay. For now, I mean, typically what we see is it's vertical error bars. Okay, since we're in control of the thing on the bottom, the dependent variable, usually the error in that is it's not zero, but it's usually very, very small compared to the range. All right, so my error in my 30 might be 30 meters. So if I'm measuring something 30 meters long, if I can measure that to within 10 centimeters, that's 30.1. That's not going to show up here at all. Okay, does that make sense? So usually we're just going to want them one way or the other. Okay, now what we need to do though is I need to come in here. Okay, I'm going to hit the bar over here, and there's a thing you can't see. Sorry about that. Error bars, boom. I'm going to go more options here. Now, it's called up this format window, okay? And so we could pick and have our, just go, below, just go above, go both, whatever. We can make it so it's flat. it's not flat on top, or we can make it flat on top and bottom, that sort of thing. And then down here is where we're going to put in the actual value. Okay, so let's do a fixed value. Let's say we know what the error is. Okay, if it's 0.1, that's how tiny it is. And if that's what we got, that's what we got. Okay, and we probably don't want to even put it on there. But let's suppose that it's 1. Okay, it's 1. All right, now check it out. It's so tiny. It's so tiny you can't see it. Okay, and we might have been like, oh crap. Well, we might as well get rid of that. But good luck, right? How are we gonna touch that thing? Okay, so what we can do is click on the series, and as long as we have this format window under series options, okay, we can come down here and we can hit Y bars, and we could be like, oh yeah, I don't know why I put 1 in there. That was dumb. It's actually 3. Like that. Okay, something like that. Okay, so let me get rid of this little format window so we can see the whole thing. There it is. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, now when you're building your own, you can do that however you want. All right, to get that format thing, I believe if we right click on that, we're going to get format data series right here. That's going to pull that up. So now we can monkey around with all this stuff over here. Okay, so we got a lot of options. You're just going to have to play with it. It can be frustrating, but be patient, hang in there, okay, and you'll get it. All right. All right, what I want to do now is I want to put a trend line on. Okay, we've got our error bars. Let's add a trend line. To add the trend line, we're going to hit the plus sign here. Okay, we're going to come down. We're going to hit trend line. Boom! There it is. Okay, just like that. Now, it automatically puts the trend line on there that's linear. Okay, so let's right click on the trend line, go to format. We're going to get this little format box. Okay, and make this a little bit bigger here. Okay, and here are all our options. So, if we didn't have a model to know what to expect, we could play with different things. Okay, now our model might predict an exponential outcome. Okay, and we would look at this and we'd be like, okay, well, it doesn't fit the data very well. Okay, well, all right. Or our model might predict a logarithmic outcome. All right, and that doesn't look too bad. Okay, or a power law. Okay, this is an e to the x kind of situation. Okay, moving average, we don't want that one. Anyway, linear is what we want for this one. Okay, we've got this thing right here. Now, suppose we didn't like dotted lines. Okay, we can fix that over here. Make it solid. We could be like, oh, that's too thick. No problem. We can cut it back. Whoa. What are we doing there? Where's my line? Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. All right, we can make it real thin like this. I think that looks pretty nice. There we go. All right, now, I don't like to see the trend line stop on data points, okay? Because, again, to the person looking at your graph, they're going to think connect the dots, that those are just boop, 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 boop. All right, and that's not necessarily the case. So we want to be clear about, we're going to go here. Oh, I forgot. I didn't click on it. Okay. So we want to click on it, get this format window back. Okay. And we're going to do a forecast. All right. So it says period here. Don't worry about that. Just think about it as units. Okay. So I'm going to make it say 2. And you see if you can figure out what changed. Nothing yet. There. And we'll say 2 here also. Okay, do you see what happened? So now my trend line extends a little bit beyond. Okay, and that is a little safer, a little clearer way to communicate to my audience that this is just a trend line. That's all it is. It's not data. Okay, it's not data. All right, now one more thing we want to do here. We click on this. Got our format stuff. All right, it's hard. If I come away, that's not what I want to do. Okay, I'm going to have to choke up on this thing a little bit. Let me scroll down here. Okay, let's talk about these things right down here. So I'm going to hit display on chart. And that tells me the equation, just like this. Okay. Now we could do all kinds of stuff with this. We could change its font. We could change its color. We could make the box blue. Lots of things we could do with that. Okay. Probably not necessary. Okay. So let me come back down here. All right. So 2.8956, that's the slope. And this is, what's this part called? Do you remember? It's the y-intercept. Okay. Now I point that out because we can adjust that down here. Okay. It's a model. The line is a model to fit the data points. Our model might say this thing should go through the 0. Okay. Now when that happened, it adjusted my slope just a little bit. Okay. But if we go backwards, let's go backwards 10. We go right through the origin there. All right. Now, I might have a model that says, no, it's not supposed to intercept with 0. It's supposed to intercept with -5. There it is. And it's going to try to figure out what slope is going to work best in order to make that happen. And you see the -5 on there. Just for fun, let's put 10 on here. And we get that. Okay. All right. Now, one more thing, and we're not going to use this very often, this thing here called R-squared value. This tells you how well the trend line explains the behavior of your data, okay, as a percent. All right, so we got, well, it's not a percent, sorry, 0.9794. So that actually means the behavior of our data points can be explained with this straight line to 97.9% accuracy. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's see what happens if we try something that didn't work as well. Okay, I'm going to, let's change our intercept. Let's force it to go to 0. See if that improves. Okay, oh, it did improve slightly. Okay, all right. But now let's just let it float and find the y-intercept that actually works the best. There again, look, we jumped up to 98.87. Okay, so it doesn't have a huge effect in our particular case, but you know, you can imagine other cases where it might. Just for fun, let's see what happens to exponential. Okay, look at that. So if we didn't know, if we didn't have a good model, if we were just fishing, we'd say, oh, exponential's not that great here. Not that great. Okay. Let's try a logarithm. I mean, although I got to tell you guys, 95, 96%, that's pretty good. Okay. That's pretty good. Logarithmic. Yeah. Wow. But that is weird. We don't expect to have negative data points. Okay. Polynomial. There we go. All right. So this is a second order polynomial that it's doing right now. And so that basically means it's fitting a parabola. Okay. Let's increase the order. Okay. So 98, what was it at 2? 98.91. 2 is 98.98. I mean, that's a 3. Fourth order. Okay. This is nuts, but look how well it matches our data. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data points. Let's go one more. This is just going to be ridiculous. Okay, 9988. Okay, so okay, there's a good lesson here, and that is don't go crazy with your trend line matching software, okay? Because the higher the order of the polynomial you put in there, the well, you could fit anything. You put enough polynomials orders in there, you can fit anything. Okay, so we want to stick with the linear. There it is, just like that. I'm going to reduce the backwards forecasting so it matches forward so it looks pretty. And there we go. So there's our first graph, okay? Just like that. All right, now let's get to the second set of data, okay? All right, again, I've already got the numbers in here. I've already adjusted the digits, okay? Heater setting, I got volts on there, heater temperature. Now, I didn't put units on here yet because I want to show you what happens. Now, these units are Celsius, okay? And if I just do this right here, Excel thinks I'm trying to write a copyright, all right? So just do Control Z, and it will undo what it did there. I'm going to have the same thing here over PV temperature. All right, it's going to default. I got to just undo that. Oh, that was too much. How come that didn't? I'll put a C on there. Okay, there we go. Just like that. Now, I've got the same kind of problem I had before in that we can't see the whole thing. All right. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead and center this. Okay. That didn't really help me out. Okay. But what I'm going to do with this guy right here is I'm going to hit wrap text. See what it did there? It makes it fit. It forces it into one cell. Okay. Now the price of that is we got this big old ugly gap right here. Okay. But, on the other hand, there it is. I'm going to draw some lines on here. Okay. Let's do it a little fancier this time. We'll put say a double line here. Line there. Down the middle, though, I want to have a simpler line. Okay, we'll go right down here like this. Just like this. This is just personal preference, okay? I would scoot these a little bit closer together because we don't need that big old empty space in there. Okay, I would probably slide that over as well. Okay, so I've got something like that. So now I'm happy with this. Okay, I can see what it is. Let's get a graph on here. Okay, so again, we're going to go scatter like this. And scoot over a little bit. All right. And we've got to put some data. It's way over here. I'm sorry, it's a little hard to see. I'm going to select data. Okay, so now we've got two series on here, okay? And so what we're going to do, we're going to call one of them heater setting, okay? And by the way, you can just click right on this, okay? But if we did, it would have that V on there, okay? So in this particular case, that's kind of a drawback. However, if we did that, and then I change the name of this later, it will automatically change on the graph because the graph's going to be like, hey, whatever's in this cell, it's going on the graph. Okay. Now I go get my X data. So the control here, there's my control voltage. All right. We're going to get some heater temperature data there. Boom. Let's scoot this out of the way. See how it looks. Oh, not bad. Not bad. Okay. Got that. But we got two sets of data. So we're going to add another one here. And this is, we're going to call photo voltage. No, I want to. Oh, I shouldn't have called the other one heater setting. I should call it temperature. This one we're going to call PV temp. Okay, get our X values. So we were controlling the voltage on this. And again, in a real experiment, you would know which is which. There we go there. Boom. We got that. Okay. This one, I got to change the name. So it really should be heater temperature. Just like that. Okay. Woo woo. Okay. So I got two different sets of data on there, and I got to check the instructions, make sure what we're trying to do on this one. Yeah, okay. Good deal, good deal, good deal. Nothing too complicated. All right, so we need to get some titles on here. Okay, and so we've got, we're controlling things down here with both our deals. So we're going to put voltage down here. In fact, you know what we probably should do? We probably like say control voltage. Like this. Again, I've said this several times. You would know it in your experiment. Okay. And here we'll just say response temperature. Something like that. Okay. Then we're going to add chart title. And so we're going to say response temps as a function of control voltage. Boom. Beautiful. Okay, now the problem is what is what, right? I got two data sets, and if I just look at this, I don't know which is which. So that's where our legend comes in, right down here. Boom. And you can see it automatically puts it over here. There it is. Boom, boom. Here's the names that we put in, okay, for each series. Okay. Now, I might not want to have these on this side, okay? It kind of looks nice. On the other hand, I got all this huge wasted space, which makes my actual, what I'm interested in, get scrunched up. So let's take a look at our options. I got to scoot it over a little bit. Will this work? Format legend. There we go. Let's try that. Okay. So I right clicked to get this. Here we go. We could put it on the bottom. That's kind of a nice place to put it there. Boom. Now it does scrunch me a little bit vertically, but that's usually not as big a problem. You can always stretch that baby up like so. Okay. Now we're going to get some trend lines on here. Okay. And I've right clicked on the blue, add trend line. Okay. This one looks, it's not linear. Let's call it polynomial order 2. Okay, let's forecast just a little bit. Look at my units down here. Okay, 50, 100, blah, 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 blah. So let's forecast by 20 forwards and backwards. See what that does for us. We'll display. Okay, so 20 was too much. Let's go back to 10. Like this. Display the equation. And we could do the R value, but I'm not really interested in that. Okay. Now, what we would want to do here is next, it would be to add some color, perhaps. Maybe make the box blue so that it's clear that it goes with this set of data. Okay. Let's do the other one now. Here we go. Add trend line. Linear's great. Okay. Let's forecast. We'll match 10 and 10. There we go. Just going to grab this guy, scoot it out of the way. Maybe put it right down here so it's obvious it goes with that one. But again, you know, we would want to make our box orange or something like that. And you can see what it's done in my legend down here. So it tells me which trend line goes with which sets of data. So pretty nice there. Okay, there we go. So now we've got two sets of data on here like this. Okay, and I could come along in here and I could be like, what the heck is going on with this guy? Heater temp point 50, 78. So I could come over here and be like, is there something wrong with this? You know, anyway, and maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe it's just a weird, funky data point. That happens. You guys have enough experience now to know that that can happen. Or maybe I just typed it in wrong. All right, that happens too. All right, guys, there we go. So there's your little tutorial on how to make graphs in Excel.